today's very first pre-tech BDT tutorial for Ghanaian GHS students. My name is Russell Baba and I'm with Bdt Production. This tutorial is geared towards GHS students as mentioned earlier, and is going to prepare you to write your BECD. However, this tutorial is also in line with the current arrangement of studying online. But with Bdt, we don't want to put it online where people register through a website to get these videos. We want to make it free as much as possible. So we decided to do this and put it on YouTube so that all GHS students can access it, even from their mobile devices. But as is your instructor, what is my name? As your instructor, my name is Russell as mentioned, and a bit of introduction about myself. I am a computer programmer and my specialization is web programming. I really also take interest in graphic communication. I study software engineering at IPMC Ghana, and currently I teach as an ICT teacher in Chess Academy in the Bdt Kakraba region, in the Bdt Kakraba town in the central region. Also, I also teach BDT, that is pre-technical skills, specifically. In this course, this BDT course, starting with section 1, unit 1, we are going to talk about materials. We know that materials are things that we use in building an artifact or an artwork. Materials mostly form part of a work, and it becomes a complete form of it, which we can change the shape, we can change its form factor to suit what we want to do. But in this tutorial, we are going to learn about metals. We are going to see how we can define metals in our own way. We are going to talk about the properties of metals. We are also going to talk about the types of metals, the examples of the type of metals, characteristics of some metals, and the uses of metal in general, or the uses of some of the metals we are going to discuss. When we say metal, what are metals? Well, metals are very solid materials with shiny surfaces and easily conduct electricity and heat. So metals have shiny surfaces. What does it mean? Well, we know that some metals like copper have brown surface, some metals have silver surface, but at the end of the day, we are looking at shiny surfaces. So it may be brown, it may be silver color, but the surface should be shiny and look very, very new. Metals should also conduct electricity and heat. When you have a material that is not able to conduct heat and electricity, we don't classify it as a metal. Now, these are some properties of metal that we are going to look at or discuss. Initially, I mentioned some metals have shiny surfaces. This property of metal is called lustrous. The lustrous property of a metal simply says that a metal has a shiny surface. As you can see in the image, this is a basin, a washing basin or a sink. You see the entire sink has this silver surface. However, it is shiny and it looks very new. This is a typical property of a metal that we all want to look at. Metal have shiny surfaces in general. Metals are good conductors of the heat and electricity. As we can also see this in the image, we see an electric stove with a saucepan on it, and this saucepan is able to conduct heat from the electric stove, which is used by the cook to fry the bacon. So metals are good conductors of heat and electricity, which are used for a lot of purposes. Metals, or most metals in general, have high melting points. So a lot of metals have high melting points. We have to go beyond 100 degrees Celsius, some as far as you can think of. So water boil at 100 degrees Celsius, but metals don't do anything at 100 degrees Celsius. They have high melting points. Metals, we say, are also high density. What it means is that metals are heavy according to their shape and form, as we see in the image. This is a weightlifting metal. This metal is heavy, and that is what the men and women at the gym use to train, because from its shape it has a density of its own. When we say metal is malleable, we are also saying that it's a property that allows a metal to be drawn into shape, or to be hammered, beaten into a shape that suits its user, or the person who wants to use the metal in particular. Metals are malleable when you become more malleable when you put them in heat or apply heat to their surfaces. That allows a blacksmith to hit it for it to take the shape or form he or she wants. There are some metals though that are also malleable and can be hammered to form a shape, which may not necessarily mean we have to put them in fire. But in general, a metal should be malleable. There's another property that metals possess. Metals are ductile. What do we say when we say metals are ductile? We mean they can be drawn into wires. This is a typical type of metal, copper, that has been drawn into wires. That is what the electricians use in their wiring, or sometimes using electrical cables for wiring our homes. Then we have one special property of metal. We say metals are solid at room temperature. However, not all metals are solid at room temperature. We have mercury, which is in liquid form at room temperature. So the normal room temperature will cause mercury to be in this form. But a normal room temperature cannot cause any other metal apart from mercury to be in this form. It will surely be in a solid form. Some other properties of metals include opacity. When we say a metal is opaque, what it simply means is that we cannot see through this metal. It is very difficult to see through a metal. A metal should possess this property. A metal should also be sonorous. What does it mean? It means when you hit a metal on its surface, it gives you this bell sound. You know that sound when you take two spoons and you hit them together. Yes, that is what we talk about as sonorous. Metal should be sonorous. They should produce that sound, which is simply tell you that yes, the surface that I just struck is a metal. Then we also come to see the types of metals. We have two main types of metals. We have the ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. So the ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. These are two important types of metals we want to keep in mind. But what are these? What do we mean by ferrous and non-ferrous metal? Ferrous metals. These are metals that contain iron. They can rust and corrode easily and can also be magnetic or magnetized, or can be attracted to magnet. So when you have any metal and you bring it closer to a magnet and it attracts it, you should know that that metal is a ferrous metal. Also, any metal that shows signs of rust or corrode when it comes into contact with acid, or when it comes into contact with oxygen and water, you should know that that metal is a ferrous metal. Examples of these metals are cast iron, high carbon iron, medium carbon iron, low carbon steel, and also wrought iron. So we have these metals that you have to look out for. Now, mostly we get these ions or steels from a raw ore or a raw material that is known as pig iron. So pig iron is mostly, we get these metals mostly from pig iron that are used in production of these cast iron, high carbon steel, medium carbon steel, low carbon steel, and the wrought irons. Now, non-ferrous metals. As we have mentioned earlier, ferrous metals are metals that contain iron, rust, and corrode. Then we can simply say that non-ferrous metals are metals that do not contain iron, they do not rust or have strong resistance to rust and corrosion, and are not magnetic. Yes, they are not magnetic. They do not attract magnets at all. What are some of the examples of these metals? We have aluminium, we have copper, we have gold, we have mercury, and we have lead. So you want to take note of these. Non-ferrous metals examples are aluminium, copper, gold, mercury, and lead. Now we move on to some of the characteristics of these ferrous metals. However, we would like to talk about one in this studies or lesson. We will talk about low carbon steel. This is a carbon steel that consists of both iron and carbon. And we want to say that the iron metal is high as compared to the carbon. The carbon ranges from 0 to 0.18%. So we know that the carbon content is very low, and that is why we name this metal low carbon steel. It has a carbon percentage of 0 to 0.18. Low carbon steel are relatively soft, ductile, and malleable, but not strong. They are mostly used for car bodies, rivets, metal gates, and wheelbarrow. So these are the main uses of the low carbon steel. So if you have not seen a low carbon steel before, look at your wheelbarrow. It's made up of low carbon steel. Now, to some characteristics of non-ferrous metal. One, we will look at aluminium. Now, aluminium is obtained from a raw material called bauxite. What are the properties of aluminium? Aluminium is soft, is ductile, malleable, resistant to corrosion, light gray in color, conduct heat and electricity very well. So the reason we say aluminium is light gray in color is that mostly you look at our roofing sheets and you see they are light gray in color, and that is the original color of the aluminium roofing sheet. So that is why we say aluminium are light gray in color. However, in recent times, people still use aluminium roofing sheet that are painted like brown, blue, gray itself, and so many other colors that the customers would prefer. So we don't really see the natural color of aluminium these days. However, aluminium have light gray color. Aluminium have high resistance to corrosion, and that is why it's mostly used on our roofs, so that when it comes into contact with oxygen and water, they do not rust easily. Uses of aluminium. Aluminium are mostly used for making engines. Some of these engines include car engines, engines in ship, and other machineries. They are also used in making cylinder heads, cooking utensils, which we normally use in our homes, the aluminium cooking utensils, the one our mothers call silver. Yes. They are also used in making window frames and door frames. So we normally see these men working, using aluminium to create the window and door frames, which normally we describe as sliding windows. The sliding window, the metal around them are made up of aluminium. And then we also have high tension electricity cables. The high tension electricity cables that we see the cables in gray color. Yes, those ones too are in the natural form of the aluminium color. That's why we see the cables to be gray. These cables are made up of aluminium. So this is trying to tell us that aluminium is a very good conductor of heat and electricity. As mentioned earlier, they are also used in making roofing sheets. Aluminium foils for wrapping foods. There are sometimes we buy candy, we see this thin metallic wrapper around the candy or a biscuit. Even at the restaurant, some use it in covering their foods before putting them in the oven. So these are some of the uses of aluminium. Aluminium are also used in making vehicular bodies or car bodies. We also want to keep note of that. So low carbon steel is not the only metal that is used in making car bodies, but aluminium can also be used in making car bodies. Now we come to lead, which is another type of non-ferrous metal. Lead is obtained from a raw material called galena, which you want to keep note of. It is very heavy, soft, malleable, non-corrosive, low melting point, and resists action by acid, which we will look at later. Resist action by acid. Lead in its natural state is very heavy, although it's a soft metal. So not all heavy metals are very hard. Lead is a typical example of a very heavy metal that is soft. It can mostly be drawn, it is malleable and can be drawn into shape, and that can be used for many purposes. It is non-corrosive. You know in a short time why we say lead is non-corrosive. And take note, they have low melting point. You don't need a lot of heat to melt lead. Small amount of heat is enough to melt lead. Unlike mercury, lead will not melt under room temperature. You need to apply some amount of heat to make lead melt and use it the way you want to. Uses of lead. We say that we use lead in making plates for acid batteries. Yes, if you remember, I mentioned that lead has a property which is non-corrosive and does not react to acid or by acid. So what that means is that lead is a good candidate for making plates for acid batteries. If you open an acid battery, you see there are metallic plates in them that separate the acid, that the liquid acid that is in the battery, and it does not corrode. So it is the best candidate, it is the best form of metal to be used in this way. Lead also is used for the covering of electrical cables. Yes, it is true. Lead is a metal, but it is used in covering electrical cables. Lead has weight, or can be used as weight, since we say they are very heavy metals, for fishing nets. You see that those of us who live in the fishing community like Osu, Lungwa, Cape, and anywhere along the coast of Ghana, you clearly see that there are some heavy metallic substances at the edge of every net that serves as weight. For those of us who live near water bodies in the country, not also along the coast, can also testify to this. So this serves as weight that sends the net to the bottom of the ocean, either the ocean or the water body that is being used for fishing. Lead is also used in making solder. So this solder is what the electronics, the people we call the electricians or the repairers, so to say, they use it in joining cables or small wires on the circuit, so that the wires can get stuck to the electrical board or the motherboard of the electronics that we are repairing on. So we join cables, we join wires by using soldering lead. So that is one uses of lead. Lead is also used to make X-ray apparatus, which is used at the hospitals and sometimes at the science lab. Lead is also used in making pigments in paint, that is used in painting our homes and houses. Now to copper. Copper is also obtained from a raw material called pyrites. Now metal like copper have high electrical conductivity, and that is why most of the electrical cables in our homes are made up of copper. Copper resists corrosion. They are very malleable. Even a young child can hold a copper cable and twist it. Copper are ductile. They are brownish in color. Copper easily allows to be alloyed with other metals, or what you're trying to say is that copper can easily be mixed with other metals to form a new form of metal. And this procedure is what we put together as a metal that is an alloy, a mixture of two metals. What are the uses of copper iron? For coating coin, like the 1 pesewa coin that we normally use, that are normally used at the malls and big shopping malls. We normally don't see it on our local market, yes, but we have coins that have metal coating. We use copper for electrical wires and cables. We also use copper for metal tubes and pipes, which is used in our homes sometimes. That serves as gas pipelines to our kitchen and also pipelines for water. They are also used as radiators fans in cars and in other machines. They are also used in soldering bits, and sometimes they are also used as cooking utensils. Now a review of what we have learned. What is a metal? A metal is a material that has a shiny surface that can easily conduct heat and also electricity. What are some properties of the metals that we have discussed? We say metals conduct electricity, they conduct heat, they have shiny surfaces, they are malleable, they are ductile, they are heavy. We say that metals also have shiny surfaces and they are sonorous, which means when you strike the surface, metal makes a bell, create a bell sound. And we also come to see the types of metals we have. We have ferrous and non-ferrous metals. And the examples of the types of metals we have. But as non-ferrous metal, our attention was drawn on the low carbon steel. Examples of non-ferrous metals we said are aluminium, copper, lead, and which we also looked at the properties of these metals. We have also come to know the uses of some of these metals. We realize that most of the metals which are malleable can be used in creating cooking utensils, car bodies, engines, and many other things, including roofing sheets. So these are the things that our lessons have been able to cover. Today we have looked at metals and we have looked at the objectives. So when we study metals, these are the objectives of the lessons we want to keep in mind. So, DHS students, please keep these objectives in mind, because these are areas that your typical exam questions are sure to come from. Now some few review exercises. These exercises are for you to try at home. Explain the following terms. 1. Metal. 2. Ferrous metals. 3. Non-ferrous metals. Question 2. State 2 examples of non-ferrous metals. Question 3. Give 3 properties of the following metals. 1. Low carbon steel. 2. Lead. 3. copper? I'm sure these questions will prepare you and will also help you to solve any future exams that will come your way. Thank you so much. I am your instructor, your teacher, Russell Babon, who has helped you to look at what materials are, especially when it comes to metals. Thank you. Hope to see you on our next lesson. However, I will encourage you to share and also like and subscribe the channel and share the videos that you see on our channel. Hope to see you again on our next lesson. Thank you.